actually shift to kind of some other teams in the NFC East. I want to talk about the Dallas Cowboys. It's actually been a long time since I talked about the Cowboys. I actually was kind of thankful for it because I get so tired of every year everyone saying the Cowboys, oh, are they Super Bowl contenders when they haven't? I think the Jaguars have the same amount of playoff wins as the Cowboys in like the last 25 years. I mean, Dallas, ever since the, Troy Aikman days and the, Emmitt Smith days, they haven't really been that consistent of a team. But because they're Big D, because of Jerry Jones, they get hyped up every year. I actually think this year they're a little bit underrated as a team. Not everyone's really hyping them up this year. But I want to focus on Dak Prescott. He obviously got paid a ton of money this past offseason, coming off a major injury. I'm lower on Dak Prescott than most people. I understand you're higher on Dak Prescott than most people. What do you think of Dak Prescott getting paid all that money? What are your thoughts of Dak Prescott and the state of the Cowboys?
So Dak Prescott is definitely, worthy of getting paid. There'll always be debates on whether these quarterbacks should get paid what they get paid, but that's the climate that we're in. That's how the NFL is structured and set up. These quarterbacks are going to get more and more money. So he got what I always say, the next quarterback up is the next quarterback to be the highest paid in the league, essentially. If you're good, you're going to be, because that's how these agents operate. They want to be able to say, my client is the highest paid player in the league. And then the next, player will come up and their agent will want to say the same thing. And so it's a cycle that's going to continue to repeat itself. But would I have done it? Absolutely. I mean, Washington fans were right there waiting for the rebound to come off the rim. If the Cowboys wanted to shoot an errant shot there, we were waiting to grab that rebound because we know how good Dak Prescott can be. When he's on, he's a really good quarterback. He's one of the better quarterbacks in the league. When we sat there and I just started to make a quick top 10 list, I don't know if he cracks the top 10, but he's right there on the outskirts of the top 10 of quarterbacks in this league. And you can win with a 11th, 12th best quarterback in the league because it's starting to get to a point now where we're getting really good quarterbacks into the league. So, you talk about Watson, you talk about Mahomes, you talk about Rodgers, and you talk about Wilson and, Kyler Murray, Tom Brady's still there. You talk about Matthew Stafford. These are all guys that, especially Stafford now in Los Angeles with the Rams, he could do some damage this year. There's so many good quarterbacks now. And I didn't even include the young guys, that we think are going to be exceptional in this league. And we still just need to see more. So we'll see what happens with Dak Prescott. He's coming off the injury. I think he's going to pick up right where he left off. He was going to lead the league in passing yards last year. Because of the start they got off to. And I thought that was going to continue because Mike McCarthy doesn't love to run the football. So he's going to get a ton of opportunities to throw it. And I think they got a really good cluster of receivers there, a nice little trio for him to get the football to. I think that they've got a ton of weapons offensively, and they're going to be just fine. The offensive line is something that you question, and they got to be healthy up front. They were not healthy on the offensive line last year, and that was a major source of frustration for a lot of Cowboys fans. We'll see what they do with the offensive line if guys come back healthy and that line gets back to where it once was. But defensively, that's the question for Dallas, right? Like they were one of the worst defenses in the league last season, and that's an understatement. They were terrible. They couldn't stop anybody, and they got rid of Mike Nolan, who was a joke. I don't know how he continues to get jobs as a defensive coordinator in this league, but that was a one-and-done situation. He's out. They bring in former Atlanta Falcons head coach Dan Quinn to run the defense, and he's going to clean some shit up. He's going to clean things up in Dallas. They're going to be a much more disciplined, if nothing else. We don't know about the talent in Dallas on defense or any of that stuff, but what he's going to do is he's going to make them a more disciplined defense. He's going to simplify things. They're not going to be doing a whole bunch of craziness. They're going to play a ton of cover three. They're going to keep everything in front of them. You're going to have to earn everything that you get. They've got enough athletes for him to be able to have those guys flying around. They're going to be a much better defense, which it's not hard to do when you were one of the worst in the league last year. But I think just that improvement alone on the defensive side of the football, coupled with Dak Prescott being back in the mix, is going to make Dallas a scary team. I personally think that they're going to win the NFC East. I've said that already, though. That's not new news. I do think they're going to probably win the division, but we'll see. I mean, they play a third-place schedule. Does that third-place schedule actually look like a third-place schedule when we get in the season? Or, does that third-place schedule look like a first-place schedule? We'll see. But at the end of the day, they've got enough talent to, wreak havoc. And with Dak Prescott back, again, the quarterback is what makes a lot of these teams go. And he's a really good one in this league. The best of the quarterbacks in the NFC East, that's for sure. Sure.
I will say, if you're a Dallas Cowboys fan, you should feel that your team's going to win the division because, well, you got the best quarterback in the division. And I'm sorry, Jalen Hurts, question marks, we'll see. Daniel Jones, not a huge fan of. I've called him Jameis Winston without the upside because of the turnovers, but he's got weapons. We'll see what happens. And obviously, we talked about Washington earlier, not a whole lot to desire with the quarterback room there. So I understand that people are saying, Dallas maybe can win the division. Like I said earlier, I have the Giants winning the division. I know I just said that Daniel Jones isn't that good, but all he really has to do is be a game manager. And I'll kind of talk about that a little bit later. But here's why I'll defend Dak. Dak was a 4th-round pick. And for years, Dallas had an opportunity to really hit on their draft picks and bring in defensive talent and bring in really good players and maybe get the coach right. And they failed to do so in that 4-year window because when you draft a 4th-round pick at quarterback and he turns into Dak Prescott, that's a huge hit. And you're on a discount. That's where you got to make moves. I mean, you look at Arizona. They're making all these moves because, well, Kyler Murray, he's on that rookie contract. That's where you make the moves. And I think Dallas really failed to capitalize on an opportunity while Dak was on the cheap. So I don't blame Dak for saying, hey, I want the bank because you guys were giving me a discount for 5 years. So I think he deserved to get paid. I mean, if Kirk Cousins can get paid all that money, if Jared Goff and Carson Wentz can get paid all that money, I don't have to be the biggest Dak Prescott fan to say he needs to get paid because I think he was the next guy up and he deserved to get paid. I don't think he's going to live up to that contract, however, because I don't think Dallas has really put Dak in the situation where, from a roster standpoint, they can make up for him making all that money. And I don't think Dak's in the category with the Aaron Rodgers, maybe a Tom Brady, maybe a Deshaun Watson, where he can win with less. Now, he has good wide receivers, but I don't know about that defense. I'm not a huge Mike McCarthy fan. I witnessed him for years in Green Bay, and he was wasting Aaron Rodgers' prime for a really long time, so I'm not a big Mike McCarthy fan. I think Dak is good, but not great. I think a lot of Cowboys fans overrate him. Some think he's a top 5 quarterback. Not close to that to me. But I think he's good. I think he's solid, but we'll see. It's all going to come down to the team around him, I think. And, we'll see what happens. I mean, do you pretty much agree?
Yep, I do.
Yep. So we'll move on. Thank you so much for watching this video today. Please also note that the Juice Alert Sports Podcast is not just a YouTube channel. It is available on all podcasting platforms, including Spotify, Google Podcasts, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts. Also, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share this content with all your friends. This podcast is my favorite thing in the entire world right now. It is my passion. And I want more people to listen to this podcast. I really want this podcast to grow. Also, a fun fact about me is that I want to go into the sports broadcasting and media world once I graduate from the University of Toledo, a college in Northern Ohio. I am looking to become one of the next great sports broadcasters and analysts out in the world. And I potentially would like to start my own network if this podcast really truly grows. Or if I fall short of that goal, I would love to work for a big-time network like ESPN or Fox Sports 1. I am open to all networks. So if you believe in my dreams and you see or hear my passion through the screen, be sure to tell all your friends about the Juice Alert Sports Podcast. Stay motivated, you guys. Have a God bless day, and I'm out.